us see how to create a package. The transaction code to create a package is SE21. Go to SE21. Let's say ZITUX is the package we are going to create. Okay, or let's say ZITUX underscore B1. All right, package. I pass the Z name and then I'll say create. Okay, I'll say create. Give a short description. Okay, now remember transport layer. Yesterday only we saw transport layer decides the path it will follow to reach the next server. So let's say usually we'll select Z paths for Z objects. Okay, that's all. I'm just saying yes. Now see, this is prompting me to pass the request number. See, this is prompting me to give a request number. So I can create requests separately also. Where should I go for that? The transaction code is SE09. Very good. So SE09 is nothing but transport organizer. And if you remember, we have seen 4 types of transport requests. What were they? Workbench, customizing, transport of copies, and relocations. Getting it? And I told you there are 2 buttons, modifiable and released. So what is modifiable? Yes, anyone? Exactly. So we can still store the changes or still record the changes in that request. That is modifiable. Release means already released. We cannot record any changes in the, we cannot record the changes in the TR actually. Okay. All right. So we'll create, how to create a request. There's a button called here called create. So say create. Which type of request you want to create? Let's say you want to create the workbench request. We'll say yes and just give a description. B1 TR. It is in short form. It is called as TR, transport request. TR B1 TR for let's say TR for B1 objects. That's all. So this request is created. It will give you a random number like this. It depends upon the configuration done by basis people actually. It follows that number sequence. Now I'll just copy this number. Double click, you can copy this number. Copied. When you double click, it gives you all the list of objects recorded in that request. Currently it is showing as blank. Do you see anything in here? No. And under a request you always have a task. What is this called as? This one is called as a task. Okay, this is request and this is a task. Remember that. So before you release a request, you have to release all the subtasks in the request. By default, when you create a request, it will always give you one task. Okay, and this task will follow the subsequent number of the request. You see it is ending with 5141 and this is 5142. Okay, now I will pass this request number here. See, I'm passing this request number here. Press enter. So this object of ours is recorded in this request. How do I make sure that? Double click. Okay, it is not been saved yet. Save. I'll have to do what? Refresh this. Okay, let me go here again. TR for employee, and I can see my request, and under my request there was a task. So the task is being, the task has recorded that I have created a package with this name. See, I passed this name, right? So whenever I will transport this request, it will check what are the objects in my request. I have one package with this name. Okay, so whenever I'll release the request to whatever next server, it will take this package also in that request. This is how it works. Transport and all. Okay. this is where actually it decides the target system. Target system means when you release this from development server, where should it go? Where should it go? As this is a demo server actually, sandbox system it is called as, so it doesn't have any target system defined. In the real-time system, you will have what? Target system. So from development, let's say it will go to quality. Okay. And from quality, let's say this is not our job actually. This is the job of basis people, but just telling you. And you may assign the project name also. Let's say project code also if given by your team lead or the functional consultant. Okay, this will come from your team lead or project function consultant, or it will be the part of your functional spec itself if it is there. So you have to provide these details. Okay, record the changes in the TR, and remember that always whenever you are planning to release a request, the first thing you need to do is you first have to release all the subtasks. Then only you'll be able to release the request. First you'll have to release all the subtasks, and then you can release the main TR. This TR, if you try to and how do you release it? Just select the task or request and click this truck icon. Do you see this truck icon? This is called as release. Okay, that is why I had drawn the truck icon when I was explaining you the transport things from development to quality and quality to production, because SAP uses the same symbolization to indicate release of the requests or transports. Okay, understood this? So we were looking how to create a package. This is all done actually. That's all. You just pass this. Other things usually we'll not even create the package. This package will come to us as ready-made because people must have been doing the changes already in the package. You will just use the packages. Or if required to create, this will be created by basis people, not us. Or our team leads or senior consultants will create it. Okay, so there are actually you can have a sub package inside a package. All those sub packages you'll have to list out here. Nothing to, let's say, worry about. So whatever transport layer you assign, it gets assigned here as well. You can change it when if you want. So this package now you can use to store any of your objects. Set itux underscore b1. Now how do I, let's say if I already have saved my program in the local package, how do I change it to, now this I want to store in my package now, because I want, let's say I want to transport this program to my quality server. How do I change that? Go to attributes. Do you see this? Packages, local package. I will say, okay, not from here. Go to object directory. Where is that? Yeah, object directory entry. Here you have this package option. Do you see this package option? So you will pass your package name here. Sorry, copy this one. ZITUX underscore P1. Let's say. The moment you pass package, it is asking you the request. Now a lot of developers, junior developers, what they do the mistake is they'll press enter without reading the description of the TR, because this is, you cannot remember this. You cannot remember, obviously you cannot remember, you cannot memorize the sequence of your request number. So from short description, you should understand that this object is going into proper request, because you may be having 3-4 open requests. Okay, those are modifiable requests, and they may be all for different objects. So you will have to select the correct open TR. So how do you do that? Let's say just click this button on the request. It will give you all the open requests under your name. So these are the two open requests. Okay, these are the two open requests. So let's say you are selecting this one, TR for B1 objects. Double click this. Now you are 100% sure that the object is going in the request you want, and then you will click OK. So this program has now gone into that request. Now let us confirm that. Just press refresh. See, it has added one more object program, and the program name is this. So if you double click in the list, it will say there's one package and there's one program. The program name is this, the package name is this. Getting it? How the things are happening? Any question? Guys, do you have any question? Anyone? Yes. Yeah, I'll come to that. I'll come to release part. But before that, did you understand how to create a package, how to store the objects in the TR? If the pack, let's say if an object is already stored in a local object or in some other package also, how do you change the object? How do you change the package, and how do you assign that to a request? Are these steps clear now? So this is how you will be working in real time actually. In real time, you will never save your objects in the local object. Remember that always. You will have to store your objects always in the package, and then you will have to assign relevant TRs. That is why I'm saying do not press enter. The moment you see that pop-up request, you tend to create, let's say, press enter. Don't do that. First confirm from the short description that it is going into the correct TR, then only press enter. Otherwise you have an option of reconfirming from list of own requests. Just click the button own request, it will give you all the open requests, then you can choose from there and then press enter. So these steps are clear. Then I'll tell you how to release it. But before release, if you remember, I told you you will have to perform certain checks. What are those certain checks? You will select the task or you will select the request directly. There are three checks that you need to perform. Remember that this is very important when you work in real time actually. A lot of, even let's say, junior consultants don't know this, and they don't even perform this even yet. Even if they are working for, let's say, a couple of good years, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, before they release their request or task, they do not perform these three checks. What are those three checks? Select your TR, say request, say complete check. Do you see this complete check? These are the three things that you need to perform before you release the request. Check for the syntax. Are there any critical errors, any DDIC object errors, any code inspector check errors? No. If there are errors, you'll have to double click and resolve those errors. Okay, it's saying no errors. Then you do what? Then check for consistency. Is the request consistent to release? Yes, it is consistent to release. Does the request have any inactive objects? No, because inactive objects, if your request has inactive objects, it will lead to error. See, I'll show this. This is inactive now. I'm checking, I'm refreshing. I'll check it once again. I'll say display me the inactive object. See, now it is showing me there are some inactive objects. What are they? There's one program which is inactive. Select this and say active. So you can activate from here itself. So you are activating it because you want to release this. An inactive object request cannot be released. It will lead to error. Now if you go and check, it is active already. It is active already. Getting it? So those are the three checks that you need to perform. What are they? What are those checks? Syntax check. It will check all the errors, warnings. If you have it in your program, it will list out all of them. You'll have to go one by one and work on those. Then you just check if the request is consistent or not. Then you will check if there are any inactive objects. Then only you will go and release your task first and then request. Now if I'm not releasing the task and I'm trying to release the request, what happens? I'm selecting it, I'm saying let's say release. What does it say? The task is not yet released. Reference task 142 not yet released. Okay, so you will have to release your tasks first, then only you can release the request. So select the task, say release. The moment you release it, it comes with this right mark. Do you see this right mark kind of checked, right? Are you guys able to see that right mark? Yes. So that tells that this task has been released. Now if I make any change, the change will not be recorded in this task because this is already released. So let me go to the program. Let me change. Let's see what happens actually. Now it is saying a new task will be created. Why? The existing task has already been released. Existing task. The request is not yet released. Remember that. The request is not yet released. That is why it is creating a new task. Otherwise, it will ask us the new request number. It will not create new task actually. So say change, saved, activate. Now go back and just press refresh. See, it has created a new task for us. 43. It has this program. Understanding it? Because this task was released, it created a new task. Now let me release this task also. Now you will release what? Request. We have already done the 3 checks. Then you can release the request. Let's say I have released this request. See this request. Now this is also showing as what? Checked. Now this is coming under what? Released node. How do you check the log? Select the request and just say this. You see this transport log. Do you remember I told you for every release request you will get what? Transport log. No logs found. Actually this is in demo systems I think. Otherwise you'll have what? Log transport logs. Okay. No, not package. Package will be created only once. Package will not create. You will create only new tr. Now you see, the moment you save it, it is saying provide the new tr. It will still be saved in the same package. You're not changing the package. Now you'll have to create new tr, not task. It will not create a task because even the request is released. So if there is no request, you will have to first provide the request number. So if you already have any open request, you can go from own request and provide the open request. If not, you can create the request from here itself. Let's say create request, and this will create a workbench request, and you are saying tr for program, let's say strings. Now this is stored in that tr. Okay. Now every time, remember this is very important. Okay. Now the things that we are seeing are going to be used in real time projects that you will work for. Okay. So every time you create or every time you create new request or assign your object to a new request, it creates one version. What is that called as? Version. How do you check the versions of a program? This can be a practical problem or practical issue for you when you are working in the real time. Let's people will say, functional consultant will say, please go and check the list of versions of the program and retrieve the last version. Something like this will come to you in the real time, the words like this. So how do you check the version of a program? Versions of the program. Utilities, versions. Okay, utilities and versions, and you will say version management. So it has created 2 versions for you. One, it was for the 141 last year. Remember last year? See, it maintains the complete record. When was it changed? Who was the author? What was the time? When was it released? Everything gets recorded in SAP. That is why I keep telling people, don't lie or don't make excuses when you have done certain mistakes in SAP system. Because you may win an argument, but system will tell you what have you done and what time have you done. Everything will be recorded. Okay, so this is nothing but versions. Okay, this is nothing but the versions. Okay, so every time you create a new request for the object, it creates new version. You can create a version by yourself voluntarily also, but not always required. So by default, every time you create a request, it will create new version, and you can compare the versions also. So just select the number of the two versions you want to compare. You just want to compare what are the changes you made. So as such, there are no differences. You can compare this way. There are no differences. If I make differences, let's say I will add what? Let me do one thing. I'm adding one more here. Now I have added in this TR, I have made certain changes in this program, right? Now there are two versions. The previous version was not having that particular left wala thing. So if I compare, now see the lines selected, see these lines selected were not the part of previous version. It is saying in 141, in 141 line number from after 53, we didn't have these lines. We didn't have these lines actually. It is saying that. So you can check the difference also. You can just say click show me the difference. Where's the difference? It will just point out. This is the first difference. Say this is the second difference. Say it is pointing out line number 54 onwards. You have added something. Getting it? So you can compare the versions to see what is the difference between two versions. Okay. Now if you go and check in your test one, if I say modifiable, it will not show the previous TR because that has already been released. If I have to check that, I'll select this option released and I'll say display. So this is the TR for view object. This is the TR we just released. It is coming under released node, and the other one is coming under modifiable. This one. Okay, understood, guys? Understood the overall concept of transports, type of requests, how to release a task, what is transport, what are the checks that you need to perform, what is the versions, what are the versions in a program, how to compare the versions. Any question here? No? Now, one more thing I'll show you. See, you can generate the version by yourself also voluntarily, okay, if required. And one more thing I wanted to show you is, let's say you have made a mistake in this version. So you want to go back to previous version. That is also possible. Very simple. Just click the button version you want to retrieve. Let's say you have created 10 versions and you want to go to third of it, which was done by, let's say, 6 months back. You have made certain changes within the 6 months, and all of those changes are causing problems. Okay, so you can always go back to the version you want. Okay, so you will just click the version you want to retrieve. Actually, sorry, we'll just select that and you will say retrieve this button. The moment you say retrieve, the current version of the program will be overwritten by an older version. This only applies to source code. Before overwriting, a temporary version will be created. So what does it say? It is saying the current version will be overwritten by the old version. Let's see. Let's see the effect. It will be overwritten actually, and it has created see new version for one more version. See one more version, temporary version for us. Temporary version for us. Now if I go back and check the program, the lines I added for left circular have been removed. Do you see that? Same program. Can you imagine? It has automatically moved, removed. There are no lines for that. Newly added lines have been removed. Can I go back to again that part? because those lines I had recorded in this version 03 version. Let me try to retrieve that. Let me see if I could get that left. See, so these lines have been added automatically left, shift places left. Okay, but while retrieving a version you must be very much confident about the code. You must have done checks twice or thrice, because it will overwrite everything in that version. So your code will completely be overwritten with that version. Okay, so you will have to be 100% sure about the code. Actually, code changes being overwritten. Clear, guys? Clear, everyone? Any question until here? All right, good. So if no more questions, let us end the session here.